the old, sort of American dream of go to college, get a good job, buy a house, it doesn't work anymore. I came from a very low income family. So it was like, how do I become successful starting with nothing? And This book is the guide to exactly how to do that. I know a lot of people like build their communities initially like in a free Facebook group, right? Like that's what we were taught to do. Here's the problem though. What creates community is like vulnerability and being honest. And if we're unwilling to do that, we're going to have a hard time creating community.
What's your final note to people who are future Rachels inside of this chat today?
Okay, I have 3 things. One is trust yourself. The next thing is like just infuse love into everything that you do. Yeah. And then the last tip that I want to leave you with,
Welcome to the Hello 7 podcast. That's 7 as in 7 figures. I'm your host, Rachel Rogers.
So I'm excited to welcome Rachel to the stage today and to talk about, Rachel, your new book that's also coming out. Tell us a little bit about your new book that's just about to come out in, I think, 2 weeks from now?
Yes, exactly. 2 weeks from yesterday, May 6th.
Okay,
Wild.
tell me about the book. Because, by the way, We Should All Be Millionaires is maybe my favorite book title of all time. And I every time I see it, I get mad at how good it is. So incredible book 1 here. Book number 2 coming out. Tell us a little bit about it, what it's about, and give us just the brief on it really quick.
Yes. I fought for that We Should All Be Millionaires title. My publisher was trying to tell me no. And I'm like, let me tell you, this is going to be good. So sometimes you got to fight. So this one is called Future Millionaire, okay? And it is a young person's step-by-step guide to making wealth inevitable. So this book is for Gen Z, basically anyone who's like a teenager all the way up to like late 20s and is, graduating or, going into an economy where they can never move out of their parents' house. And that's not good for people who are not Gen Z because that means they're never moving out of your house. So they need a new plan, right? Because the old, sort of American dream of go to college, get a good job, buy a house, it doesn't work anymore. And that's not realistic for a lot of people starting out today, or even if you're a person that's older but starting over, it's the same situation. So we need a new plan that will actually work in any economy. And that assumes you have nothing to start with, because this book is really written for my 15-year-old self, where I had nothing, no resources, no network, no money. My family did not have money. I came from a very low income family. So it's like, how do I become successful starting with nothing? And This book is the guide to exactly how to do that. And so it's like everything from career to investing to creating a 6-figure side hustle and all the thought process behind it, because mindset is always key. That's the biggest piece.
We just got off a session with Barrett Brooks, who's a mutual friend of ours.
Yes.
Talking about the mindset that keeps you stuck. And so this is really good. Really, really good. Okay. I want to hear a little bit about how do people who know you are friends with you talk about you, Rachel? Because we can all read the bio on the back of the New York Times bestselling book, but I want to hear about Rachel. How would people talk about you? How do your friends talk about you?
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like what they would say is she stayed busy. I just got off a podcast earlier today where the interviewer was like, what number of book are you on at this point? I'm like, girl, I can't even keep track. So I think I'm just sort of a take life by the horns type of person. And that's probably how I think a lot of people describe me. And a lot of that comes from my 12-year-old self, where my father, he was actually how old I am right now. So 43 years old is how old I am right now. And that's how old my dad was when I was 12. And he suddenly passed away from a serious health issue. And it was shocking, to my family, to me, to my mom. And so I think I learned from that we don't have forever, that life is precious, and we better get to it, So the dreams that you have, the things that you want to experience, you better get out there and go experience it, because tomorrow is not promised. And I think that was it was just like a very intense lesson that I got at 12 years old. And I guess it's just stayed with me. So I'm just kind of like, let's get after it. What are we waiting for?
I've watched you do this over many different seasons of your life and your career. It's been really fun to watch. You just go for it. It's like, we're going all the way. There's no hedging here. There's no holding back. We're going all the way.
Yes.
What I want to hear a little bit of is the foundation of Hello 7. So you were an attorney.
Yes.
And then you started this company called Hello 7. Tell us quick the mission of Hello 7.
Hello
Awesome.
7.
Very inspiring.
Yes. People are always like, what's the 7 for? I'm like, 7 figures, my friend. Okay, let's get this money. So Hello 7 is here to help historically excluded communities build wealth. Literally, that is the purpose. And so historically excluded, and I say that rather than minority, right? Or like there's a lot of language that we use to describe people who are marginalized. And I'm like, no, let's acknowledge, right, that they're historically excluded, right, from the systems that are allowing people to build wealth, right? And we could go back and do a history lesson, but we ain't got time. Okay. And so we know that that's true. So I say it that way because, there are systems in place that prevent women, people of color, Black people specifically, Indigenous people, people with disabilities, queer people from building wealth. And so I wanted to build a company that was all about helping all of those folks build wealth, because I felt like, I've gone to so many masterminds. I know you've been in some of the same places, and you walk in and it's all white guys, right? And, I love my white guys. I have great white guy friends, but, it's like, where are the women? Where are the queer people? Where is the diversity? And that used to really frustrate me, and it annoyed me enough to the point that I was like, fine, I'll do it, because I saw a gap in the marketplace, and so it's like, even as a businesswoman as well, this is not just it is a mission. It's something I'm extremely passionate about, but it's also smart business, right? And please understand that mission and profit can go together, okay? These do not need to be disparate things. In fact, I think if you're doing good business these days, they absolutely should go together. And so, I was just like, I'm going to solve this problem. And you know what? I was just kind of laughing at all the other people serving, as business coaches or offering business training, business education, business communities, and completely ignoring a huge segment of the market. I'm like, y'all are playing yourselves. You're leaving a lot of money on the table. And you know what? I could do it better anyway. So I'm just going to scoop up all these clients and create an amazing community that we can all be a part of and celebrate it.
Yeah. And you keep using the word community here. And I think community has been the core of what you've done. I've had the privilege of being in rooms with some of your community, like in-person rooms. I'm thinking specifically in Nashville when you did that podcast recording. I've seen them show up in places like you have a real community. Like people in the Hello 7 community, like they show up and they show out and they're like ready to rock and roll. So talk to me about community as the core of Hello 7 from the beginning, because I think you uniquely do it better than almost anybody that I know. Your people are ready to go. They're ready to get stuff done. They're ready. It's my favorite. So talk to me about community as the core of Hello 7.
Yeah. I don't think I realized it until probably in the last couple of years that actually what I do is I'm a community builder. That's literally what I do. And whether it's for activism purposes or profit purposes, it's all around the same, sharing space with people who are like-minded, who share the same values, who want to create a better world. That's what I wanted, right? And this entrepreneurial journey can be very difficult, and it's very lonely at times, and we need community. We need each other. Literally every book I've written, including this one, there is a chapter about community. There's a chapter about building your squad, because you need to be around people who are doing the things that you want to be doing, right? Who are accomplished. There's all kinds of stats and research and studies that show you hang out with A students, guess what? If you're a C student, you're about to be an A student, right? If you're an A student, you start hanging out with C students, guess what? You're about to be a C student. This is what the stats show. No matter what part of life, in different settings, we impact each other. And I think in a world of AI and with so much data being created, information, we're in information overload, right? Content everywhere. And so what we need and what AI is never going to replace is community. And so I think that should be a core part of literally everybody's business. Everyone needs a community around your business, whether you sell retail, if you sell software, if you sell services, right? If you have a community around your business where everybody doesn't necessarily have to play the same role in the community either. But I think it just makes it, first of all, a lot more fun to run. And then also you will be in business for a long time. And the other thing too, is then you also you're not making decisions by yourself. You know what I mean? Your community is your board, right? And so when COVID happened and, a lot of my clients started canceling because like people were losing their jobs left and right, or their business just was gone overnight because travel was closed or whatever else was closed. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What did I do? I went to my community and I said, what do you need from me right now? And they told me exactly what they needed. And I built that, So I think there's just no replacement for community. We make it part of every offer. There is literally nothing we sell at Hello 7 that doesn't come with community. Even this book, right? Like there's a bonus that comes with it. You buy 2 copies, you get to come to Money Camp, right? So it's like, I'm going to find a way to get us together. Because that's always, we're stronger together. We're more impactful together. We believe in ourselves more when we're together. That's where our power is. So, that's why I do it that way.
You said something about building stuff for your community. Like this is the ultimate validation tool. And this is like, it's so funny. It ties to the last session that we just did with Barrett. He said, first of all, you can't validate until you get started. So step 1, you have to get started, see how people are going to respond to what you do. Agreed. Once your community is here together, it really is, it's an idea of like empathy and understanding and listening and asking. And it's, in my opinion, it's like the cheat code of business. Is like,
100%.
You don't have to be the genius of everything. You just got to ask people what they need and then you go give it to them. So talk to me about how you've done that over the years, because I think you do it really, really well. And that COVID example is just one small example of what you do.
Yeah. And I think part of it is just like having literal empathy for the people that you're serving, right? Like, where are you at right now? What is it that you need right now? How can we serve you better? It's like caring about your customer. And if you get to be in community with them, it's really, I don't know, there's just something really special about that. Like, it's almost like it is a relationship. And I think we need to show up to it as that, right? So like, sometimes people will start to build a following, right? Or build up a community, and then they like immediately start peppering them with sales things every day. And so it's kind of like, okay, if you were hanging out with someone in person, would you go up to them and be like, do you want to buy my thing? How about now? Do you want to buy my thing now? How about now? Do you want to buy it now? Right? Like, so it's like, act cool, like act like how you would in real life in your community. And that's going to help you build relationship. But I think that's what we have to see it as. So one of the things that I think people do, that's a mistake that I haven't done, but I get praised for this, but I'm like, I just don't know another way to be. So like, don't give me praise for that. It's literally just how I humanly operate, But people are like, oh, you're so real. You're so honest. And I'm like, is there another option? I'm just going to tell the truth or not talk at all. Right. Like, I don't want to do the fake thing. I just can't do the fake thing. It's just, I'm allergic to the fake thing, So I gotta be myself and I gotta be real. And I think that's the key, is like showing up and actually letting people see you and letting people know you. So that means
how do you have the courage to do that?
Yeah. I think you just need like, you just need enough courage to start and to just like kind of go for it initially and put yourself out there and allow yourself to, I think you should just sort of expect rejection, and in fact, if you could just sort of put yourself through some kind of rejection therapy, that would be ideal. Okay. Because I think that's actually what gives you the courage, is when you get rejected and you're like, oh, I'm fine. I didn't die. Then you can keep going. It's not the end of yes, there are going to be people who they're not interested in your thing, or they viscerally dislike your thing, right? Or who you are, or whatever, what you stand for. Cool. That's great, because that means that there's another group of people that are all in. And I think we walk around sort of afraid to share our politics, share our, true, real views, share, our life stories, share what we're really about, share our fears, share our struggles. And those are the things that actually help us to relate to each other. That's actually what creates community, is like vulnerability and being honest. And if we're unwilling to do that, we're going to have a hard time creating community. Now, I am not someone, I don't show my kids all the time. Like, I don't show, where I live, all my personal details. I'm not telling everybody my business, but with the things that I do talk about, I show up, right? And I'm, talking about stuff, and I'm sharing my true views and true challenges and experiences. And I think that is what creates that glue and creates that community. And I feel like that's what's actually created longevity. Hello 7, or actually I've been in business since the 2008 recession. And so it's like, we've been through some ups and downs, as a business owner, for sure, for me, for 15 years. And the reason why my business is still here and still thriving is because of my community, right? So I understand I am here to serve them. my team is here to serve them, right? And this is a relationship, and it's got to be two-way too. And mind you, that also means I require them to show up, right? So I also hold my community to a certain standard. So you cannot abuse my team, right? Like, do not talk to me any kind of way. This is my house. When you're in my house, this is what we do. This is what we don't do, you know? So I think you do have to set some ground rules when you're running a community as well, because it is a two-way relationship, right? So you need to let them know, here's what I expect of you, and here's what you can expect of me. And that's actually what creates great relationships.
Listen up. If you're tired of setting the same income goals year after year and still coming up short, it's time to change the game. You know you're meant for more, but right now your business isn't moving like it should. You've got the talent, the skills, the ambition, but your bank account isn't reflecting that. That's where the Make Money Moves Challenge comes in. For 5 days, I'm giving you the exact strategies, mindset shifts, and money-making moves that have helped me and thousands of other entrepreneurs break out of the feast or famine cycle and start stacking real wealth. No more scrambling to hit your revenue goals, and no more waiting for the perfect time to go all in. You're getting daily action steps that will have you making more money immediately. This isn't a fluffy feel-good challenge. This is about building a business that actually pays you what you deserve. So are you in? If so, join me for our next challenge. Go to hello7.co/challenge to sign up now.
Yeah. So one of my favorite quotes in business is "different is better than better," by Sally Hogshead. And I was like, that thought kept running through my mind when you were talking about being yourself and showing up all the way, like not hedging.
Yes.
And I love it. And I think there's something here too, is like, I often say, like, let your freak flag fly a little bit. Like, there are people who are going to view the world exactly the way that you view the world. And what we care so deeply about sometimes when we're afraid of rejection is that people who see the world differently than us, who are not our people, we're afraid of what those people think about us. And what I reframed rejection as is like, oh, it's more actually clarity on who my people are. That's not my person. Let's find my people. So that's not my person. This is my people. And the more that we have the ability to be fully ourselves, let our freak flag fly, be different. It allows you to be better than somebody that is, quote, better or more experienced or more whatever else than you. It's like exactly your story, Rachel. It's like, hey, I happen to be in a group of people that it's historically hard to build wealth. I care deeply about this. I'm going to like not worry about all of these other things. Like, these are my people, and I'm going to do this thing for these people. And I think it's huge. My people, you know?
Yes, exactly. One of the videos, I've had a video go viral that I had no intentions of going viral. That was after George Floyd was killed, and in the wake of that. And I was just so raw and angry about it. And I created a video about it for my Facebook friends. And it wound up getting shared so widely that I was like, oh my God, because I was particularly pissed in this video. And I just literally pulled no punches and said exactly what I thought. And it had, however many millions of views. And in that process, I was shocked at the people who came up to me or who sent me DMs or sent me messages and said, I needed to hear that, right? The publisher for We Should All Be Millionaires, my book, right? It was an older straight white guy, right? So obviously this video was, it was for everybody, but I was not thinking that he would respond to that. I never thought he would see it, right? This is the publisher of my book that gave me a book deal. And the guy who's like the top, who runs the thing. And he messages me and he's like, I needed to hear that video. I've shared it widely. I got so much out of it. Right. So you don't even we make assumptions about who our people are. Oh, our people only look like this, or our people only act like that, or our people are only over here. You actually don't know. Right. If you just show up and start being yourself, you'd be surprised how many people are your people and are with you. Right. They may not be as vocal as you. Right. They don't have the skill to say it the way that you'd say it or whatever, or the desire, but that doesn't mean they're not with you. So I think it's really, building community is so beautiful because you discover like there's so many different people that you do connect with, that you do share values with.
And here's a really, really, really important point, is rejection is going to sting either way. If you're fully yourself and you get rejected, or you're like hedging and trying to guess what people want you to be and you get rejected, it's going to hurt either way. But what's going to feel really good is if you are fully yourself and you find acceptance and you find your people. However, but if you're hedging and you're not being fully yourself and you get acceptance, you will always know that there's a gap there. They're not really accepting you. They're accepting an idea that you have that you think people want of you. And so I think it's
Yes.
like, rejection is going to hurt. And if you can reframe that rejection as, actually, this is just helping me find my people. But the caveat is, like, you have to be fully yourself to find your people. Otherwise, you're finding people who are attaching to an idea of you that you have that's not truly you and fully you.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing worse than that. Like just sort of walking through life feeling like, well, if I show who I really am, I'm actually going to lose the people that I've built relationship with. So,
Yeah.
and I will say to you, rejection doesn't sting forever. Okay. Like the more you experience it, the less you care. So one of the best things that ever happened to me is, when I graduated from law school, or it was in the last year of law school, and I applied to all these clerkships and all these law firms. And I mentioned it was the 2008 recession. So for this reason, I applied to like literally 100 jobs. So that meant when it was that season to be getting those letters, like, and finding out like who is making an offer to you, I would check my mail, and every day I would have like no less than 5 to 10 rejection letters. Like I'd just open each one and just cry, and then open the next one and cry. By day 3, I didn't care. I was like, okay, who's in, who's out, right? Like I just was over it. So that's why I say rejection therapy is like a real thing. Collect rejections, put yourself out there, ask. And if people say no, say cool, right? But just like the more no's you collect, the less it impacts you, and the less you're like, oh, this is a rejection of me as a human being. No, it's not. They're just not interested in your thing, or it's not the right time for whatever reason. And that's fine. You don't have to let that stop you from reaching out to the next person. So
yeah, if you reframed your success as, hey, you're actually 20 no's or rejections away from finding success, like, wouldn't you be more excited to get the first one, and then the second one, and then the third one, and the fourth one? Like, if you just reframed it even just a little bit to say, like, actually, on the road to success and the road to building a business that you really care about is paved with 20, 30 rejections. Man, I would be very excited about getting that first one. So I'm like, great, only 29 more to go. And
exactly. I completely agree. We actually have a project like that we do in our community all the time, that we have them do this, collect 50 rejections. And they have to actively go and do that every day, put themselves out there. And then, of course, by the 5th one, they're getting yeses, and they're like, oh, people are saying yes. I'm like, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah. Because it's rapid learning. It's rapid learning of like how to position it, how to talk about it, how to connect with my people, who are my people and who aren't my people. And I think it's just rapid education. But if you make it so connected to you, then it's like you just get paralyzed. You're just stuck.
Yes.
And stuck doesn't get us anywhere. So
it sure doesn't.
Okay. So you've done community for a long time, and in varying different levels of effectiveness and not effectiveness. You were on Facebook at one point, if I remember all of your communities.
Yes.
Talk to me about that season, now transitioning to Mighty. And I'm kind of setting you up for a cool conversation here, but talk to me about that transition a bit.
No, I love it, because the thing is, I know a lot of people like build their communities initially like in a free Facebook group, right? Like that's what we were taught to do, or that was a tool that was available back in the day. So a lot of people did it. I had a lot of my communities on Facebook. Here's the problem though. The Facebook has an algorithm that is working in the background that is designed to celebrate and promote drama, right? So if there's like, if someone is posting something dramatic, right, or starting a fight or anything that's going to get like an intense back and forth and tons of commentary quickly, that's the type of stuff that Facebook is going to push to the top. Whereas if somebody else is celebrating, like I just had my first, $20,000 month or something like that, right? That will get some commentary, but it never gets as much attention because the algorithm is not pushing it to the top the way it pushes negativity and drama. And so that's what I found in my communities, is that literally it would be like a Friday at 5 o'clock, I'm ready to like log off for the week or whatever. And then like some fight would break out in my Facebook group between two people. Because remember, I serve, historically excluded people. And they each of these identities has their own very real struggles that they've experienced. And sometimes it would be one identity versus another. And it's like the struggle Olympics, who struggled more, And so this is some of the things that would happen and what people would be fighting over in the community. And this is why I had to lay some serious ground rules. But at first I didn't know what I was doing, right? So at first it was just kind of like, oh, they're fighting. Let me go referee. Let me get involved. I'm not afraid of fighting. I'm a lawyer. I think I mentioned that. So like fighting doesn't scare me, but I'm like, okay, let's nip this in the bud. Let's resolve this. So like now it's Friday night and I want to be hanging out with my kids, but I'm solving a problem in the community. I remember another time I was like on my way to kayaking on a Saturday morning. I'm like so excited to go kayaking with friends. And literally on the way, I make the mistake of like checking my group and like another drama has broken out and like one person is fighting another because they disagree on something. And so that's what was happening all the time on Facebook. So I just was like, and I thought it was me. I was actually blaming myself. Like, what did I do to create this scenario where there's like kind of infighting, happening relatively often? And then I realized it ain't me. It's not even them. It's the algorithm, right? That celebrates and promotes negativity and just like does not like show all the amazing things happening. Sometimes there are the most amazing things that no one sees it, And so I was just like, I hate this. I feel like we don't have control. And then also Facebook started doing these censoring things where certain words were just like banned. And there were words that were connected to like people's identities, So they're talking about their lived experience and their post gets banned and they think Hello Seven's doing it. I'm like, I would never ban your post, So it was just like, I was like, I need more control over my community. Like I need the way we manage this community to be aligned with our values and not having this third party, like sort of algorithm overlord making decisions that don't work for us. So that was one of the biggest issues. Master. Yes, exactly. And so I was just like, I don't even think we realize how much we are like prone to drama from social media, And so anyway, especially Facebook in particular was just a place where that was just rampant. And I wasn't the only one. Like a lot of people were reporting to me that this is what was happening for them too. And at the same time, my community did not want to move. So we were floating to them, hey, we're going to relocate. What do y'all think about that? We took some surveys. We'd like be communicating with them. And they were all like, no, we don't want to leave. We love it here, blah, blah, blah. Right. They were very attached because people are afraid of change. So when you ask your community, hey, do you want to go over here? The majority of them are going to be like, no. You're going to have like 5% early adopters and everyone else is going to be like, but isn't it great here how it is? Like, why are we changing? So just know that that's part of it, but you are the leader. And when you see a future and an opportunity that could be better, you have to be willing to take the risk sometimes. And trust me, it was scary. Like I had quite a few times where I like, put it in front of them and they were like, no, and I backed down. Then I put it in front of them again, got a little more yeses, but still back down. Then another time where I was like, it's happening. I'm not asking anymore. So, but it just requires some change management. So we had to do we started communicating about it. We were like 90 days out, we're relocating. Like, let's talk about it. We would mention it every week, right? Like we were just like soft launched it. And then at that 60-day mark, we started moving people to the new, Mighty space. And then, by the end of that 90 days, we were like, okay, now you've got to go because we're over here. We're not operating this anymore. So you got to come over here with us. And everybody came and it's beautiful. And we don't have any of the drama problems, right? And there's so many ways that we're relating to each other that's different. I love the app. So like, there's just a lot of, every community that we run, which is everything because every offer that I have has community as part of it is on Mighty. And it's just worked beautifully for us. So it's been good. But I say that to say, if you're scared to move your people, just know that it is a process and it's totally worth it. And they're going to love it once they get to the other side,
I know another thing that you have strong opinion on is free communities or giving stuff away for free.
Me? So, I have a strong opinion.
Yeah, you. Talk to me about that. Let me just poke a little bit and then see what happens here. But talking about like avoiding free communities and free stuff.
Yes, listen. Community management is an actual real thing. Like that is a job, that is a real offer, right? So even, if I offered a community and there was no training that was part of it, or there was no like tons of content and it was just about being together, that still has value and is worth charging for. And I think sometimes people, I don't know, I think we just create a lot of stuff. We create a lot of value for free already, just on social media, creating content. Some of us have podcasts, we have YouTube channels. We're creating so much value for free all the time. At some point, you got to start paying for it, my friends, right? Otherwise, we don't get to stay in business, right? I have a mission-driven business and I still charge for my services. I charge for my company services because you know why? My team don't work for free and I still got to pay for these kids to go to school and cover, mortgage payments and all that. So let's be real and let's charge for the value that we're creating. So I think sometimes, when people are joining a free thing, there is a lack of commitment, right? So if you don't pay attention is what I always tell my clients. So if people are not paying for an experience, their attention span is going to be pretty limited, right? Like maybe they'll be active in the community, but how long, right? Probably not very long. And so one example is we do a challenge every month. It's called the Make Money Moves Challenge. We charge $97 is the general admission price for that experience. They get community for a week. They get training every day for a week, and it's a whole experience, right? And a lot of people have said to me, why don't you do your challenge for free? I did my challenge for free and I have 5,000 people join. And I'm like, great. How many of those 5,000 people actually want to join your community after that? Actually want to be a part of your business after that? Very few. And in fact, you'll have 5,000 people show up and, sign up and only 500 actually show up, right? Like the show up rates are bad. Whereas we have 95% of the people who pay for the challenge actually show up and do the challenge. Like they're there every day. We take attendance every day and they're actually there. So, and why is that? Just $97. Literally that $97 was enough for them to be like, I'm going to get my money's worth, versus if you pay nothing, it's kind of like, well, I'll get to it sometime. And we don't prioritize what we don't pay for. So, do that not only for your company, but also for your client, because they're not going to show up and commit if they, are not paying for it. So yeah, here's the beautiful thing too. When you build a community of people who are like, this is important enough for me to put down my money to be a part of this, imagine how much more spectacular, special, committed that community is. Like that whole community now is going to have vibes for days, right? Because everybody there feels like it's important enough to pay for. Whereas a free community, it's like some people will be committed, some people won't. You'll get some people who are trying to misuse the community in some ways, right? Like you just never know what you're going to get when there's no filter. And so I like paid. I want to see you get paid and I want to see people actually commit to what they say they want to do or what they want to be a part of.
Okay. So two different things I want to talk about here. So one is what I've heard this 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. I don't know. But it's different for me, Rachel. Like I have to get some momentum. So I'm just going to let people get in for free. I just need to get started. Once I get a little bit of momentum, then I'll start charging for it. And there's all this mindset stuff around money. And I'm curious your take on how we overcome this, because it is without fail. Every time this conversation comes up, I know there are people who are like, yeah, but it's different for me. Like I'm the exception here. People will actually show up when I do this free thing because it's so valuable, or I need to just get a little bit of momentum and then I'll start charging. Talk to me about some of the mindset shifts that you talk about here.
Here's the thing. I think when you are avoiding charging for your service, right, including whether it's for a community, you are avoiding solving the actual problem in the business. And the longer you avoid solving that problem, the longer you will not be in business or not make money, right? And the longer you will have that problem. So I just personally think, if you don't want to charge, you're not charging because you're scared, right? You have fear that people don't see the value. Cool. Guess what your job is, right? Your job is to teach them what the value is. And also,
we've officially rescheduled ROI The Millionaire Summit 2025. Join me, Hello 7, and hundreds of your newest business besties in Huntington Beach, California from June 17th through the 19th for 3 days of high-impact, high-caliber fun. Let me tell you why ROI The Millionaire Summit is happening at the perfect time. June is the ultimate mid-year reset. It's your chance to pause, reflect, and redirect your energy for the months ahead. By the time the summer rolls around, you've had 6 months of wins, lessons, and challenges. That makes June the moment to evaluate what's working and ditch what's not, and pivot for even bigger success in the second half of the year. I'm so excited to invite you to ROI 2025 this summer to reconnect with your vision and take million-dollar action with me. Come to dream bigger, move boldly, and reconnect with your purpose. So if you're ready to realign with your vision, sharpen your strategy, and set yourself up for massive wins, ROI is where you need to be. Head to hello7.co/ROI to grab your ticket.
to make sure you're talking to the right people. Am I talking to the people who see the value in this, who want to solve this problem? Or am I talking to people who don't care about this problem and are never going to spend their money on that? So I'm talking to the wrong people, right? You don't figure any of that out if you're offering everything for free forever. So at some point, you have to start charging and then figure out why are they not buying? And then solve for that. They're not buying because of X. Great, build X into the offer. Now they'll buy it, you know? But if we avoid it and try to skirt it, then guess what? We never actually face the problem head on and we never get to solve it. So don't try to, listen, in business, you're going to run directly into problems all the time. In fact, the more successful you are, the more problems you're going to run into, right? You solve one problem. Let's say, like, for example, maybe it's a marketing problem. You solve the marketing problem. Now you have a delivery problem, right? Like now I have too many people to deliver for and not enough people on the team to deliver it, you know? Or now I have to figure out how to create the same amount of quality and value with a larger group, you know? And so don't avoid those problems, just face them head on and say, what do we need to do to solve this? What could we do, right? And what's available to us right now and what's something that we could do in the future, right? And let's take some action step towards solving it right now instead of avoiding it. So I think, you know, you got to ask people, because people will say all day, oh, I loved it. Oh, it was great, right? You'll do like a survey and people be like, oh, it was wonderful. I'd totally buy that. Then you ask for the sale and it's crickets, right? Right? So you don't actually know. Yes, exactly.
The best
like
in the world is a credit card getting pulled out and buying the thing. It's like that's
yes.
for sure how you know. For sure.
That's how you know. Yes, that the thing has value. So I think don't avoid getting to the part where they pull out their credit card.
I've never heard it framed the way that you just framed it, is like you're just avoiding the real problems. It's so good. Like I want to be like, wait, can you say that again? Because I need to hear that again. It's like you don't know if you have a positioning problem or a pricing problem or a marketing problem or a landing page. You just don't know where the problem is at if you're just giving it away for free, because free is easy. Free is a hurdle that anybody, whether they're the right people or the wrong people, can jump over. But when you have that barrier of needing to pay, it's like now you can figure out what the real problem is. And we talked about this earlier, is like you've got to go through these little like rejection or failure points to get to understand what's really working. And you're just delaying that the more that you do free. This is genius. I love it. I love that framing. I've never heard it framed that way. And this is why you're here. It's because you're one of the smartest people I know.
Okay.
I want to talk about one more
thing. I just want to say one more thing about that. The thing too is that if you want great clients, they don't want to hang out with people who are not committed. So if you want the amazing clients, if you have a bunch of freebie stuff, like the amazing clients are going to be like, oh, they ain't doing nothing serious up in here. Never mind, moving on, you know? So like you're actually going to lose some of the best people if everything doesn't require commitment and doesn't require payment. So I just wanted to make that note too.
That's so good. Okay. I've had a front row seat to these challenges that you do, and they are epic. So I want the 5-minute version of like how this, like, it's super practical, but it is one of the best tools I have seen, is a paid challenge into this community. You have a mastermind community offer that you have here, and it's a pretty high ticket offer. So can you give us just like the 3-minute, 5-minute version of how this challenge works a little bit? And how somebody else could take this, because is like, I think free events have their place. We're doing this free event here, and it's, you know, it's attracting a bunch of new people to us, but like this paid challenge is an amazing tool, and I've watched it be really successful for you. So give us like the 2-minute version of how this works.
Yeah, I just wanted to, like, I kind of was like, I wonder what would happen if I spent just a week with people, because here's what most of the things I build come out of being irritated. So I'm like, I'm annoyed, right? People aren't getting it. I'm giving them this advice. I'm telling them what to do, and they're not doing it. So like, what if we just created a container, right? Where for 5 days, they're just going to do it, you know, like we're going to get the things done. And so that's what this was born out of. And so it's called the Make Money Moves Challenge. And each day I show people how they're leaving money on the table. And I mean, we have people in there who are 8-figure entrepreneurs. We have people who are just starting out, side hustlers, everything in between. And it's always rave reviews. And there's a couple of things that are why. One, I teach every day and I give homework. And I also, when I start, so again, this is the community building piece. When you are a leader, lead. Okay. So if you're going to start a community, I want to invite you to be the leader of that community. Okay. They are looking for a leader. They want somebody to say who's deciding what happens, who's organizing us, who's saying what happens next, when things happen. When you're not leading, you're not being compassionate to your community, because then it's like, well, I don't know. What do y'all want to do? Then everybody's going to say 17 different things, and then no one's going to have it. Like, have you ever been in like a large group who's trying to figure out where to go to dinner? Like, it's a nightmare. You need someone to raise their hand and run the show.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a part of a group where we spent 3 hours deciding what movie we were going to watch, and we never watched the movie. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, that's exactly what happens. It's like, or like,
exactly.
Where are we going to dinner tonight? And it's like, all right, we could have been eating 45 minutes ago if we would have just said, this is where we're going. You know?
Yes, exactly. So it's like leadership is compassionate, okay? And you don't have to be boss energy. You don't have to be a loudmouth like me, right? Anyone can choose to lead, and that means having empathy for the community and making decisions for the community you're leading, and people are going to look to you to lead, okay? So you got to be the leader. And so what that means is you lay the ground rules of here's what happens and what doesn't happen up in here, right? And so I want to invite you to be the leader of your community, lay ground rules, and communicate those rules. You cannot enforce what you do not communicate. So you have to make sure they know the rules. And I like, we have our ground rules when people, get into our community and get into our space, but we also like say it, so we're like, let's just talk about this, right? So it's basically orientation. So I start the challenge, and I think this is one of the most important pieces of it. And that's why I'm going into it like this. I start the challenge with, you have hired me to be your coach for this week. And that means I'm going to coach you. Okay. And I'm gonna let you know right now, it's not gonna be comfortable. It's not gonna be convenient. And I'm going to ask more of you than you have been asking of yourself, which is why you don't have the results that you're looking for, right? That you're gonna get in this challenge. And so that means I'm going to, first of all, I'm the leader, right? And so I need you to follow my leadership, because where I'm trying to take you is to where the millionaires are. Okay. Do you want to go where the millionaires are? You want to have the millions? Great. Follow me. All right. So I'm establishing myself as the leader and making it clear. Everybody's going to follow my lead. Okay. Because that's what's going to help us get there. Right. That's why we're doing it. Not because I'm the boss, not because I'm the best, just because I've been appointed leader of this group because I created it. Right. And so I'm going to lead y'all to where. So I'm laying the ground rules, and I give them homework, and I tell them I'm going to expect you to do your homework. And one of the most important things that I do is I do not give them the recordings. So I do, but for a limited time. So what I tell them is, we're going to record this, and then you need to watch the recording within 24 hours of the lesson ending. If you do not, it's gone forever. Do not email my team. I don't want to hear your reasons or your excuses. Tell your excuses to somebody else who's not trying to help you become a millionaire. I'm trying to help you become a millionaire, which means drop the excuses and figure it out. I'm a mother of 4 children. I do not care what you say you're busy with. Okay? Like, trust me, you're not busier than me. All right? So make the time if it's important to you. And so I just hold them to a standard that no one else holds them to. And then they're like, oh, shoot, like, I guess I better show up, And so that is the energy. So once I lay those ground rules and be like, we're doing A player stuff up in here, then everybody's like, okay, guess what? I'm going to show up like an A player. They do their homework every day. They watch the recordings every day. And I'm like, this is not something to live on your hard drive that you're never going to do. This is for you to take action. And so I teach them a lesson every day. I do give them homework every day before the next lesson. I'm like, did you do your homework last night? What happened? And then people are like, I did my homework, and guess what? I made money. I got this, I got that, this happened. And they're reporting all the wins. So that just gets everybody else hyped to keep showing up and doing their homework. So by the end of the week, it is transformational. I mean, my team is in tears by Friday, right? We're all emotional because it's just been this epic, experience of, raising the standard, right? And I think, and honestly, I think part of the reason why I feel compelled to do it this way is because when you are from a historically excluded community, I think like teachers even in school, it's sort of like, I don't want to expect too much of you. And I'm like, no, that's not what we need. We need the opposite. Expect everything from me, right? And know that I'm capable of it, and tell me I'm capable of it, and tell me that you believe in me. And that's what's going to help me go do the things, not putting me in the corner and saying, we don't expect much from you, right? And so I think that's why I approach it this way. And it's transformational. Like by Friday, people are different, right, than the way they showed up on Monday. And that's my goal. And, then, we offer our mastermind, and a lot of people take us up on that offer and join our mastermind and work with us long-term. But even if they don't, I love that they left changed. And I love that they spent $97 and had an entire experience. And they're going to remember that Hello 7 provided that to them. And so even if, they'll send other people, right, when they are ready, they'll join us. And so I'm just like, I'm here to do good work and help change people's lives. So the challenge is one of the ways that we do that. And it's also great for our business and just takes care of people. So I love it.
And they're getting an opportunity to experience what the larger offer is,
Yes.
right? In
Yes.
a small way. So it's like, hey, you'll get to know really quickly if you're our people or not, right? You're going to
Yes.
know on day one.
100%. And the thing
Yeah.
is too, it's like we have a community that we create for the challenge on Mighty, and it's just for the week. So we're like, okay, great. We're going to have this community. This community goes away if you choose not to join us for the mastermind. So we don't keep a free community open because you paid $97 one time, right? No. That's not how this works, right? Because I'm not here to pretend to them that not ever making an investment is going to allow them to get their goals and get their dreams. No, you're gonna have to take risks. You're gonna have to risk your money. You're gonna have to risk your energy. You're gonna have to risk your ego, right? You're gonna have to risk your time. If you're not prepared to risk any of these things, I'm not prepared to spend all my time and energy serving you, you know? So like, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna give you everything I got, and you better show up with something too, okay? Yeah. So raise the standard, right? For yourself and for the community around you. And guess what? Everyone gets elevated when we do that. So that's part of what's happening, which is really magical.
Yeah, it is. It's such an incredible experience for people. I've literally watched people make like 5 and 6 figures in that $97 challenge. It's like
it's wild.
It's crazy. It's wild. It's absolutely wild.
It's so much fun. Like when people are like, this one woman made $450,000. She went and did her homework, which what I'm telling them to do is money moves. That's what the homework is each day. And she did this thing that I told her to do. She talked to a client, closed the client for $450,000, and then came back and told us the next day, and everybody was hyped. And I'm just like, it's like as if that money is in my bank account. That's how exciting it is for me.
Yeah.
So
and it's like
it's
low
awesome.
commitment to experience the transformation that then sets you up to be in the deeper part of the community. And I think it's brilliant. It's a brilliant model. So I'm curious to hear, like, there are a lot of people here who are pumped about hearing your story. I'd love for you to like imagine Rachel 2007 thinking about starting her business here, all of the fears or concerns she might have. I think there's a lot of like future Rachels in the chat right now. Like, what is your final thoughts for people who are thinking like, I want to do this, like I want to have the same results Rachel had? Like, what's your final note to people who are future Rachels inside of this chat today?
Okay, I have 3 things. One is trust yourself and trust your own ideas and your own creativity. Okay. Other people do not know how to do it better than you. Okay. You can do it the best, right? You can do what you are meant to do the best. And I've wasted a lot of time and energy and money, like trying to get advice and trying to get other people to guide me and tell me my ideas were good enough. And the bottom line was they were good enough, and I didn't need anyone else to come along and water it down. Okay. So trust your creative ideas, trust your vision, and test them, put them out there and see what happens, right? Because honestly, nobody knows. Nobody really knows the answers in business. You have to test. That's really, business is one big experiment.
This is huge. I call it the myth of leadership. It's like, we think that we're making it up as we go, and we think we're the only one. And I have met wildly successful people who are just making it up as they go. And I think that's a huge myth where people think like, oh, they've got it figured out. And I'm like, no, they don't.
No. We're all making it up. That's the secret.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, is trust yourself. The next thing is like, just infuse love into everything that you do. Just imagine yourself. What would it look like to just be like an example of love in this scenario? And that's in business too, right? So like, as the leader of your community, if you run up against an issue, or if you're trying to make a decision, and you can say like, what would love look like, right? What do I want that to look like? Creating a space where people feel celebrated and important and loved on, right? Like, that's what community is for. And I don't mean in like, not in a family, intimate, friend way, but I just mean like, just spreading love, being positive, spreading joy.
This
like
is so huge.
Bringing like positive energy. Yes.
I want to park here for a second, because I think a lot of people are afraid of doing well in business because they're afraid of being like those douchey people that they see out in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that empathy is the biggest superpower in business. I think it 100%. Makes you so damn good at business if you can really care for people, right?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, business exists to solve problems and help people have transitions, period. End of story.
Yes.
And that takes a ton of empathy to be able to do that well.
Exactly.
Where I see things start to decline really quickly, or people start feeling stuck, is they forget that part of it. And it's like, great. What is it worth to you or to somebody to have a problem solved, or to go through a transition where they feel stuck? It's huge. And I think this is like, it allows you to be you said something earlier about tying together your values and profit. And those two things don't have to be in conflict. And this idea of like loving people and empathy is huge. And I think it's worth parking for 30 seconds. So thanks for letting me get my soapbox for a minute.
Yes.
I think this is it. Like, this is everything in business, is just caring for people.
Yes, exactly. And I will say to you, I know that sometimes we feel like we have to choose between doing the right thing and money. And trust me, you know, like I'm a poor Black girl is where I came from, right? So trust me, I get it, right? And I know I have been in those scenarios. And every time I have chosen to do the right thing. And every time I have always come out okay. So I promise you, like, doing the right thing is good for profit. It will lead to more money in your pocket. You will be better off, right? And so just choose to do the right thing no matter what, right? Choose to do what feels right for you, what your moral compass says to do, what love looks like to you. And again, it's gonna be different for different people. So you might do something out of love and people will be like, I don't feel loved by that. Cool, feel your feelings, right? That doesn't mean that they're right. You know what I mean? So this is people, right? And people are complicated, but also people are magical. So you just got to do what feels right to you. And then the last tip that I want to leave you with, I want to really challenge you to shift your beliefs around money. And what I want you to make your mantra is making money is easy. Okay. Every day, I want you to wake up and say to yourself, making money is easy. And then I want you to pay attention what comes up for you. Are you like, no, that's not true? Okay, great. No, that's not true. Why is that? Why do you think it's not true? Right? What in you is making you feel like that's not true? What thing happened in the past? Or what fear do you have? Or what experience did you have? What evidence are you looking to say, no, that's not true? And then I want to challenge that, right? Challenge those stories, challenge those beliefs, and look for evidence that making money actually is easy. Okay. So just spend your time, and literally you could keep a note in your iPhone or write it down in a notebook. And every time you find any evidence that making money is easy, you write it down in the notebook. I'm going to give you one piece of evidence, like just one example. My son loves to play video games. Okay. And of course I'm a mom that's like, nah, you get in 1 hour and that's it. Right. So now his new hustle is, he's like, can I play video games and get paid? There's this new website where you get paid to test out new video games and you get $36 an hour to play video games. Okay. Making money is easy, my friends. It is not hard. You can make money doing damn near anything. Okay. So challenge yourself to believe that making money is easy, because this idea that making money is hard, it's nonsense. It's not true. It, like, who benefits from us believing that? It is BS that was placed in our heads, right? So let's disabuse ourselves of that thought and recognize that making money is easy. When you approach it that way, you're going to be like, oh, duh, all I have to do is X, Y, Z, right? And it's going to become clear to you. It's going to open up opportunities, and you're going to see, we all have open doors around us. You're going to notice the open doors that are sitting right there that you couldn't see because you thought making money was hard. Okay. So that's my last thing I want to leave y'all with.
I love it. Show us the book one more time, and it's coming out in 2 weeks, but I'm assuming it's available for pre-order everywhere as well.
Yes, it's available for pre-order right now. And if you order 2 physical copies, you can go to futuremillionairebook.com, and then you just upload your receipt and you'll get 2 tickets to Money Camp. So you get to experience my community for free. This is a free example. Well, technically it's not, because I'm making you buy 2 books. But I appreciate your support, and thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful for you.
Yeah. Thank you, Rachel. That was so great. Super inspiring.
You want to make more money? You are in the right place. Welcome to the Hello 7 podcast. That's 7 as in 7 figures. I'm your host, Rachel Rogers.